Back in the interrogation room, Dustin and Dahlia sat with their backs against each other for warmth. Such peaceful moments were rare from the moment they were married until their divorce. No one spoke anything as they remained silent for a while. "Dustin, do you think we will walk out of here alive?" Finally, Dahlia broke the silence. She couldn't stand the damp and dark surroundings that forced her to think depressive thoughts. Furthermore, Mr. Gardner wasn't easy to deal with. Her heart thumped with fear at what would happen to them. "Don't scare yourself. We will definitely leave this place in one piece," Dustin comforted her. "What if we don't? Do you have any last wishes?" Dahlia murmured glumly. "There's no possibility of us dying." "Let's talk after we get out," Dustin replied. "Not after we have offended Lord Asmon. With his connections and resources, getting rid of us would be as easy as killing a gnat." Dahlia sighed. Even if she pooled all her resources, it would be nothing compared to the wealth of the nobility. "Dahlia, this doesn't sound like you. I thought you were a person who would not give up until the last second. With your personality, you would take on any challenge that got in your way. Why are you being so pessimistic?" Dustin raised his voice. When she heard this, Dahlia gave a chuckle. "You're right. No one knows what will happen until the last minute. Perhaps we should have hoped that things would turn around." The metal door creaked open once again as she finished her sentence. Light streamed into the room as Mr. Gardner stomped in with a few burly, intimidating-looking men. "Kid, your time is up. Have you made your decision?" He shot Dustin a fierce look. "Yes, I've decided." "I will not return the items," Dustin replied firmly. "What?" Mr. Gardner frowned. "Kid, don't you know who these men are? I'll be honest, they are the worst criminals and bandits I have in prison. They have been deprived of the touch of a woman for a long time. If you refuse to cooperate, you will definitely regret it. These men will have their way with your girlfriend while you shall watch her ravaged and abused in front of your very eyes. If you dare to touch her, I'll tear this whole place down." Dustin warned with a growl. "You piece of shit. How dare you talk back to me? Now, you have no choice but to bear the consequences." Mr. Gardner gestured to his men. "Guys, make sure to put on a good performance for this kid so that he knows his place. Show him a fate worse than death." "Of course, sir. We are much obliged." The men cackled with pleasure. They had been locked up in prison for a long time without a woman's touch. Now that such a beauty was in their presence, they could not hide their evil desires to ravish her body. "Hi, gorgeous. Let's have a good time. I'll get the girl, you can get the guy." The men began to strip while laughing maniacally as they stepped menacingly toward Dahlia. "You must be looking for death." Dustin stood up, furious. He tore the shackles around his hands and legs with brute force, and they fell to the ground with a clang. After that, Dustin turned around and untied Dahlia easily. "You." Mr. Gardner was taken aback at the sudden turn of events. The shackles in the interrogation room were specially made to be extra tough. It was impossible for a human to tear the metal apart like butter. How did this scrawny kid do that? "Gardner, you have pushed my limits." Dustin kicked the shackles aside and rushed towards him. "Quick, stop this kid." Mr. Gardner screamed for help. The burly men immediately surrounded Dustin, and all of them attacked him at the same time. "Get out of my way." A surge of energy was released when Dustin stomped his heel on the ground. The sheer force threw the men backward and crashed into the walls of the interrogation room. All of them were dead in an instant, bleeding from their internal wounds. Help, anybody. Please help. Mr. Gardner turned pale and whirled around to escape.